Good morning, students. I hope you all are ready for this online class. First, I'll revise the previous online class topics today as they are related to main differences between the Digambras and the Svetambras. In that, you have learned the Digambar Munis, ascetics, remain completely nude, whereas the Svetambras Munis were white cloths. They wear white cloths. Then the second point you have learned impact of Jainism on Indian culture and society, in which you have learned growth of vernacular languages. The Mahavira always used the common language and he used Ardh Magdi. Then second point you have learned contribution of Indian art and architecture, how this religion, this Jainism has affected the Indian art and architecture. Then third point you have learned religious principles of ahimsa. In fourth point you have learned humanitarian services. Humanitarian services in that the teachers, the gurus of the Jainism, they used to open the schools. They like to serve the human beings. So for that they had opened the schools and hospitals for the common people. So in this way you have revised the previous online topics. Today I'll start with the topic Buddhism, the life of Buddha, the teachings of Lord Buddha and main doctrines of Buddhism. Buddhism. In that, first we will learn about the life of Buddha. In the 6th century BC, India became the birthplace of popular religious movement known as the Buddhism. So in which century BC the Buddhism rose up? In the 6th century BC. It was founded by a Kshatriya princess, Gautam, who was the son of Shuddhodhan, the chief of the Sakya clan of Kapilvastu. Where is Kapilvastu? It is in the foothills of Nepal. So it is, we can say it is the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha was born about or near about the year 567 BC in the village of Lumbini near Kapilvastu. So what is the main place of Gautam Buddha? He was born in the village of Lumbini near Kapilvastu. Even at a young age, his mind was towards deep spiritual matters and he was not attracted to the luxuries of royal life. Means during the time of his young age, he was not at all attracted towards the luxuries of his palace, towards the luxuries of his kingdom, but he was attracted towards the spiritual life. He was married to a beautiful princess, Yashodhara, and they had a son named Rahul. So he had one son also named Rahul. Afterwards, Rahul was also spreading the Buddhism. The luxuries of the palace and even the love and affection of his wife and son could not satisfy his heart. Means his wife and son could not able to stop him in searching the truth. The sight of an old man, a sick man and a dead body made him think seriously of the futility of worldly pleasures. Okay, so these four sights, these are the main four sights which made him think seriously about the search of truth. So he was thinking about an old man, that why man become old. He was thinking about a sick man, that why man becomes sick. And he was thinking about a dead body, that why man died. And afterwards he was not getting the answer. So fortunately he saw an ascetic whose calm serenity greatly attracted him. So whose calm serenity, whose calmness, whose quietness, whose pious behavior attracted him a lot. And these sights were called the four great sights in Buddha's life. So he wanted to ask the question from himself that why these sufferings, why these problems are there in the world. And he wanted to search for these questions. He wanted to search the answers of these questions. So he has left his home, he has left his wife and all the luxuries and pleasures of his kingdom. So these 4 great sites were famous by 4 great sites of the Gautam Buddha's life. Do you know, children, about the meaning of the Great Renunciation? Gautam Buddha's mind was set on finding the solution to the problems of human sufferings and death. So again and again this thing was reminding Gautam Buddha to ask, to search for the sufferings and death in the world. Why these sufferings and death is there in the world? He was asking this question again and again, and he is not getting the answer. So at the age of 29, he broke all the worldly ties and left his palace as an ascetic in search of truth. So at what age he has left his palace? 29. At the age of 29, he has left his palace and he started leading a life of an ascetic in search of a truth. This event came to be known as Great Renunciation or Mahaparityag. So this is the meaning of Great Renunciation, leaving the worldly pleasures and leading a life of an ascetic in search of the truth. The enlightenment. So how Gautam Buddha became enlightened? Gautam Buddha visited many places and met many Brahmins and religious teachers who could not supply the answers of his spiritual quest. He was asking from so many people about the answers of his questions, but nobody was able to fulfill his answers, to give his answers. Nobody was able to satisfy his spiritual quest. Together with 5 Brahmins, ascetics, he practiced severe penance. So he met 5 Brahmin ascetics and he started leading a very difficult life with them. But what happened one day? One day when he could not endure hunger any longer, he decided to take food to keep himself alive. So what happened one day? When he was not able to endure hunger, he took the food, and because he took the food, this action was completely against of those Brahmins, and because of such an action his companions deserted him. They don't like his action of taking the food. He gave up penance. So what he has done? He gave up penance, he gave up the difficult life when he realized that it was a fruitless attempt to find truth through such means. So he came to know this thing, that he was not able to attain the enlightenment with the help of this way, with the help of this difficult life, with not taking the food. So he has left this way, he has left the way of difficult life. Then he sat under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya and remained in meditation till he attained spiritual knowledge. Ultimately, the true light dawned on him and he came to be known as the Buddha or the enlightened one. So in this way he came to be known as Gautam Buddha. In this way he got the enlightenment, the true knowledge of the God. The spot where he got enlightenment was considered a hollow place, where now stands the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya. Okay, so that place was hollow, and now they made a Mahabodhi temple over there in Bodh Gaya. and the peepal tree under which he sat is known as the Bodhi tree. After his enlightenment, the Buddha proceeded to the deer park near Sarnath. Okay, after his enlightenment, where he went? He went to the deer park near Sarnath, where he gave his first sermon, or we can say a spiritual sermon. So the first place where he delivered his sermon was the Sarnath. For the next 45 years, he moved from place to place, preaching his simple messages to rich and poor alike, and many accepted his teachings. So he was preaching his simple messages, his simple living, and his high thinking attracted many people towards Buddhism. He attained nirvana, or we can say eternal life or everlasting life, at Kushinagar in 486 BC at the age of 80. So in this way, Gautam Buddha died. Now we will learn about the teachings of Buddha and main doctrines of Buddhism. The foundation of the Buddha's doctrine was based on Four Noble Truths. So what is the foundation? Four Noble Truths, which he emphasized in his teachings, which he gave more importance in his teachings. The Four Noble Truths were, so what are these Four Noble Truths? The world is full of sorrow and suffering. This is the first thing. The world is full of sorrows. This is absolutely true. Second thing, the main cause of suffering is man's desire, or it is called as Trishna also, for sensual pleasures and earthly possessions. So, what is the main cause of sorrows and suffering in the world? It is the man's desire. Third point describes about suffering can be removed by getting rid of desires. Okay. Or for example, renunciation to leaving the worldly pleasures. So the third point describes about how we can come over on man's desire by following the Four Noble Truths, by following the Eightfold Path, and by leaving all the worldly desires, by leaving the worldly pleasures. In fourth point, you will learn one can overcome desires by following the Eightfold Path. Now, what is this Eightfold Path? It has 8 major things. It consists of right faith, right aspiration. What is this right aspiration? A hope of achieving something. Okay, a person has a hope of achieving something. Then right action, right living, right speech, right effort, right meditation, and right contemplation. Contemplation describes about an action of looking something through thoughtfully for a long time. Means when a person is looking something thoughtfully from a long time. So that was known as the contemplation. Eightfold Path was also known as the middle path. Okay, it was also known as the middle path. Buddha believed in following a middle course, avoiding two extremes. Okay, he believed in middle path, avoiding two extremes, not too difficult and not too easy. For example, neither indulging in extreme attachment to the worldly pleasures. Means the person should not attach himself extremely to the worldly pleasures, nor practicing severe or self mortification, and nor not giving himself more tough life. Means great embarrassment and shame. A person should not do these things with himself. Giving pain to the body. That actions where causes pain to one's body means the person should not give pain to one's body. He should lead a simple and calm and quiet life. So in this way we have learned about the teachings. Few more teachings are there which you will learn in the next online class. So today we have learned about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Please listen the video carefully and do the assignment on the given date. Make your own points, listen the video again and again. Thank you.